Thank you, Don, for taking the time. Given your experience and expertise in the area of global content and localization, I wanted to ask you, how should companies think about maintaining a strong brand identity and at the same time answering in the local language and emphasizing the importance of language?
We actually have some data from a recent survey of consumers, a B2C survey of 10 non-Anglophone countries about the preferences that consumers have for a global brand over without information in their local language versus a less visible, less known, but fully localized brand. And there does seem to be a very high preference for the global brand over the local one, to the extent of about 2/3 of the respondents. And the same number we saw in a similar survey that we conducted on the B2B side among business buyers. So what this says is there's a lot of, let's say, trepidation and a lot of concern about spending money for something when the brand is already effective. Why localize? Why fix something that's not broken? However, we also asked about other aspects of the customer life cycle, of the customer journey, of a global customer experience, and we found significant preference for buying at websites only in their own language, for having product information in their own language, and importantly, for having post-sales customer care in their own language. So the challenge really here is from a budgeting standpoint, is to convince the budgeting powers that be that it's worth doing this. And the numbers are compelling when you look at the global customer experience relative to the brand.
So companies do need to emphasize the needs of the global audience if they want the content to be in a specific language then.
In order to really give the brand the power that it needs in terms of relevance and authenticity and integrity and trust, you have to underpin it with information in the local language.
And do you see any companies having concerns about if in any way that they have to be really careful about translations, localization to maintain a consistent brand image, but at the same time answering to the calls for localization?
This is a tough problem for companies to deal with because you do want consistent information from language to language, from market to market. Otherwise, you end up with some classic problems with different prices in different markets that are contiguous. That's a difficulty. You have to deal with having the information being correct and current in all of the locales that you're dealing with. So fundamentally, the issue here is one of making sure that you're presenting a common set of information that is consistent, because there are a lot of people who arbitrage the net. They can deal with multiple languages, and if they find one experience in English, they may want the same experience in French or Italian. So companies have to deal with that. But at the same time, there is the concern to make it local enough to appeal to the motivators and preferences of whatever the market is.
Without diluting the brand.
Without diluting the brand.
Well, thank you, Don. Thank you for the expertise.
My pleasure.